All praises to the Most High, Ahaya, and to his son, Yahya Messiah, Yedahaya. This is Brother Holly with the second Spirit of Truth broadcast here on the AHAYAH'S channel, as well as the House of Ahaya channel, on this set apart and stormy Sabbath day. First and foremost, as always, I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to the great I am, he who is, was, and is to come, the Almighty One, Yedahaya, and to his son, Yahya Messiah, who gave himself for us that we might have life, and that life is in him, Yedahaya. Now, in this second broadcast, we're going to get right down to it. I had to turn on the lights in the room, children, because a very intense thunderstorm has moved overhead. It got dark almost as twilight outside, but it is indeed like 2:30 in the afternoon here in Central Florida. If you hear some thunder or see flashes of lightning, we're right underneath a pretty powerful cell at the moment. So as long as Ohio wills it to be so that we have power and that I live and his son Terry, we're going to just trooper on through. All praises. Let me mark this one if I can. We'll be reading from the Learned Pele Hebrew Torah Lashwan Kodash Holy Tongue Yasha Ahaya Bible Scriptures. And we're going to pick up pretty much where we left off in 2 Chronicles. And we're just going to bring out a few points from 2 Chronicles, and then we're going to go to the book of Ephesians to drive the point home. And the point we're making is a simple one. It is the contention of myself and all those associated with House of Ahaya and Ahayah's house. It is our contention that the people that the Apostle Paul, so-called, was writing to in his epistles were actually factually the lost sheep of the house of Yasha'Allah, called Gentiles, referred to as heathens, referred to as barbarians, referred to as Greeks, referred to as the uncircumcision. And we saw in the first broadcast that the so-called Gentiles who had the law written in their hearts were actually and factually of the house of Yasha'Allah. And we have made the point on the broadcast that nowhere in the scriptures is any member of the house of Yasha'Allah ever referred to by the term Jew or Judean. That term was strictly reserved for the house of Judah or the house of Yahya. And those were the people of Judah, Benjamin, and the priesthood of Levi. We're going to see where the Levitical priests will run out of Yasha'Allah, will run out of the house of Yasha'Allah during the time of Jeroboam and Rehoboam, during the reigns of those kings. And they all came out of their wars because they were supposed to be scattered amongst all the tribes. They were not given a land grant inheritance. That Ahaya was their portion, and they were to do the priestly office amongst all the tribes and teach all the tribes. For the priest's mouth should hold wisdom and knowledge, and the priest's mouth should be filled with the Torah. They were to keep the Torah teaching going for all the houses, for both houses of Yasha'Allah and all the tribes thereof. But the house of Yasha'Allah, or the northern kingdom, ran them off. And we're going to read that in 2 Chronicles here in a moment. And that's when they joined the tribe of Judah and Benjamin, and went to Jerusalem and to continue their work as the temple workers under the priesthood of Aaron for the children of Yasha'Allah. Let's go. Turn with me. Let's start reading. 2 Chronicles chapter 10. And let's start reading at verse 12. 2 Chronicles 10:12. It says, So Jehoram and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the third day. And the king answered them roughly, and King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men, and answered them after the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereunto. My father chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. Will you highlight? Now here Rehoboam, Rehoboam is answering the people that came with Jehoram, who are of the house of Yasha'Allah. They came to him who was of the house of Judah. This was before the division, when it was just when everybody was considered one Yasha'Allah. But the people who were part of the soon to become the house of Yasha'Allah had been exiled to Egypt, and they had returned to Egypt upon being notified of the death of Solomon, who was the son of David. And now they were trying to get Rehoboam, who had taken his father's throne, Solomon's throne, to basically return them back to their status of just being their brethren and not being under servitude unto them. I'll read it again, 2 Chronicles 10:12. So Jehoram and all the people came to Rehoboam on the third day, as the king bade, saying, Come again to me on the third day. And the king answered them roughly, and King Rehoboam forsook the counsel of the old men, and answered them after the advice of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add thereunto. My father, speaking of Solomon, chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. So the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was of AHAYAH, that AHAYAH might perform his word, which he spake by the hand of Adijah the Shilonite to Jehoram the son of Nebat. And when all Yasha'Allah saw that the king would not hearken unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? And we have none inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to your tents, O Yasha'Allah. And now David, see to thy own house. So all Yasha'Allah went to their tents. Will you highlight? Every man to your own tent. Every man to your own tribe. We have no inheritance with the house of David. The house of David is part and parcel to the house of Judah. It doesn't belong to the house of Yasha'Allah. It is part and parcel, and it belongs to the house of Judah. And here the house of Yasha'Allah is saying, we got to part. We ain't got no inheritance here. If all we're ever going to be is your servant, then we have no place here. These are their brethren, their cousin, their first cousin. But they're saying, nope, we will not serve as underlings to you. All praise. But as for the children of Yasha'Allah, they dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam. But as for the children of Yasha'Allah that dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. And we're going to read down a little bit who those people were. They were just a few of the house of Yasha'Allah that actually factually lived amongst the children of the house of Judah. And then King Rehoboam sent Jeroboam, that was over the tribute, and the children of Yasha'Allah stoned him with stones that he died. But King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. And Yasha'Allah rebelled against the house of David until this day. Will you highlight? This is 2 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 19. 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 1. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he gathered of the house of Judah and Benjamin 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Yasha'Allah. Will you highlight? There is a difference in the scriptures between the children of Judah and the children of Yasha'Allah. There's a distinct difference. This notion that people try to impose upon the New Testament that everybody of Yasha'Allah, all 12 tribes, can be called Jews. Nothing can be further from the truth. Everywhere you see House of Judah mentioned here, you could replace it with the term Judeans, for that's where the house of Judah resided, within the land of Judea. Like I've said previously on these channels, and I'll say it here again, the word Jew never existed during the time frames of the writings of the scriptures. The word Jew didn't even come into existence until AD 1000, long after these things were written. It couldn't have said unto the Jew first. It couldn't have called Messiah King of the Jews. That's an impossibility. It had to say King of the Yahudim, or the Yahudim, or the Judeans. It couldn't have said. It's linguistically impossible, for the word didn't even exist. And it wouldn't have been Jews until like the 1600s. It would have been IEW, or IEU. IEU, not Jews. Because the letter J didn't exist, especially not in the Hebraic language. There is no letter J, there is no letter U, there is no W in the Hebraic language. All these were added. Around 700, 800 AD for U and W, and J in the 1600s. All praises. Let's continue. And I said that so when you see the word Jew in your New Testament, you put the word Judean, the right word is Judean. And in the upcoming, soon to be upcoming, all praises to AHAYAH, that I live, his son Terry, and the earth remain. If all that takes place in the near term, brothers and sisters, we will start the compilation of the word of Yahweh to the 12 tribes scattered precept version. In that version, you will not find the word Jew. There might be a foreword that talks about the word Jew and how it could not be in the scriptures, but in the scriptures themselves, you won't find the term Jews, you won't find the term Judeans. Nope. It'll be Yahuyadah or Yahayada. None of it. And within the precept version, in the New Testament, where it says Gentiles, if it's talking about the house of Yasha'Allah, it'll either say that or it'll say the seed of Ephraim. For according to Genesis chapter 48:19 and Romans chapter 11 verse 25, as is written in the Hebrew in Genesis 48:19, it says, hello, ha, it's Melo ha goim, which means fullness of the Gentiles. The same phraseology that the Apostle Paul, the Hebrew of Hebrews, used in Romans 11:25. And Melo ha goim is said in Genesis 48:19 to describe the children of Ephraim, or the seed of Ephraim, who's over the house of Yasha'Allah. Let's continue. 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 1. And when Rehoboam had come to Jerusalem, he gathered out of the house of Judah and Benjamin 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against Yasha'Allah, that he might bring the kingdom again into Rehoboam. But the word of AHAYAH came to Shelemiah, the man of AHAYAH, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Yasha'Allah in Judah and Benjamin, saying, thus saith AHAYAH, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren. Will you highlight? So when a person of the house of Judah is talking about their brethren, they're talking about the people of the house of Yasha'Allah. So the Apostle Paul, who was of the house of Judah, of the tribe of Benjamin, when he uses the term my brethren, he's speaking expressly, directly to a member of the house of Yasha'Allah. Oh, praises. 2 Chronicles 11:4. Thus saith Ahai, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of Ahiah and returned from going against Jehoram. And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities of defense in Judah. We highlight time and time again. That term, fenced cities, walled cities, we talked about in Judah. And when we're going to go in a moment, we're going to read a few more of those verses that talk about the walled cities, the fenced cities, the defenced cities with people on the wall in Judah. And it's going to show you from 2 Chronicles why. Who are they fighting against? Who are they prepared to fight against? They were prepared to fight against the house of Yasha'Allah. Here was reunification under the point of a sword. Here Rehoboam had gotten tens of thousands of warriors out of Judah and Benjamin, and of the tribes that were still Torah obedient out of the house of Yasha'Allah, to join him to bring the rest of the house of Yasha'Allah under heel, to make them obey. But the Most High said, don't you go against your brethren. Because this division between the two houses is of me. I'll read it again. Second Chronicles chapter 11, verse 1. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he gathered out of the house of Judah and Benjamin 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against Yasha'Allah, that he might bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam. But the word of Ahiah came to Shelemiah, the man of Ahiah, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all Yasha'Allah in Judah and Benjamin, saying, thus saith Ahiah, ye shall not go up nor fight against your brethren. Return every man to his house, for this thing is done of me. And they obeyed the words of Ahiah and returned from going against Jehoram. And Rehoboam dwelt in Jerusalem and built cities for defense in Judah. And verse 6 through 10 talk about the number of cities he built. And let's skip down to verse 10. And Zorah and Alalon and Hebron, which are in Judah and in Benjamin, fenced cities. In verse 11, 2 Chronicles 11:11. And he fortified the strongholds and put captains in them, and stores of victual, and oil and wine. And in every several cities he put shields and spears, and made them exceedingly strong, having Judah and Benjamin on his side. And the priests and the Levites that were in Yasha'Allah resorted to him out of their coasts. Here's why. These priests didn't have an inheritance. They were to be scattered among all the 12 tribes to perform the priestly office. This is in accordance with Torah, that the tribe of Levi was to be dispersed among the 12 tribes as the ones who would keep them Torah compliant, to teach them the law. But what did the house of Yasha'Allah, the northern kingdom, do? Let's read it. 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 14. Let's start reading verse 13. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Yasha'Allah resorted to him out of all their coasts. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem, for Jehoram and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Ahiah. Will you highlight? Rehoboam was in Judah. He had no problem following the law, statutes, commandments, judgment, or his precepts. He ain't have no problem following the way and will and obeying the voice of Ahai. He ain't had no problem with that. To the extent that when he wanted to bring the rebellious house of Yasha'Allah back into the fold by force, Most High said, nope, go home, this division is of me. And what the house of Yasha'Allah was given over to. We're going to read it. First thing they did was get rid of priests. Remember in the first broadcast when I read from 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, where it said that Yasha'Allah had no teaching priest? Yeah, here's where they didn't have one. They ran them off. And how you're thinking, and you might have thought it was talking about every tribe of Jacob had no priests. Oh, the house of Judah had tons of priests. They had all the priests. Why? Because the house of Yasha'Allah run them off. Let's read it again. Forgive me, child. I got something in my all praise. 2 Chronicles chapter 11 verse 14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem, for Jehoram and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Ahiah. And he, speaking of Jehoram, ordained him priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he had made. Will you highlight? It says right here, for the devils. Why? Because behind every idol there's a devil. Didn't the Apostle Paul tell us that? Didn't the Apostle Paul tell us that behind every idol is a devil? Where do you think he got it from? Right here. They set up golden calves. They set up one in Bethel and one in Dan. And they ran off the Levites. Why? Because the Levites would have been preaching the commandments to them. That you shouldn't make a graven image. Oh, no. Anybody talking like that, you got to get out of here. I'll read it again. 2 Chronicles 11:14. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession and came to Judah and Jerusalem, for Jehoram and his sons had cast them off from executing the priest's office unto Ahiah. And he, speaking of Jehoram, ordained him priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he had made. And after them out of all the tribes of Yasha'Allah, such as set their hearts to seek Ahiah, Alahayim of Yasha'Allah, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto Ahiah, Alahai of their fathers. So they strengthened the kingdom of Judah and made Rehoboam, son of Solomon, strong 3 years. For 3 years they walked in the way of David and Solomon. And Rehoboam took him Malathath, the daughter of Jeremoth, the son of David, to wife, and Abinah, the daughter of Elab, the son of Jesse, which bare him children, Jeus, Shamaliah, and Zeham. And it just goes on and lists more of the sons and daughters that Rehoboam had and whose child they were. But suffice it to say, he was not getting wives out of the rebellious house of Yasha'Allah. He only took wives out of the compliant house of house of Judah. But the main point of that was that the Levites were ran off by the house of Yasha'Allah, by the northern kingdom, and they went to Jerusalem where they could find refuge, and they were replaced amongst the house of Yasha'Allah by people who would worship idols and would teach people to worship idols. And these priests weren't ordained by Ahiah. These priests were ordained by a rebellious, idolatrous king, Jehoram, the same one who ran them off. Now let's see who these people were that fell out of. We see that the Levites came into the house of Judah. Let's see who else came into the house of Judah. Because it mentions others that wanted to worship according to how the Torah had described. Let's see who they were from. Let's go over to 2 Chronicles chapter 15. We read some of this earlier, but we didn't read all of it. 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 1. And the spirit of Ahayiah came upon Azariah, the son of Oded, and he went out to meet Asha, and said unto him, Hear ye me, Asha, and all Judah and Benjamin. Ahayiah is with you, while ye be with him. And if you seek him, he will be found of you. But if you forsake him, he will forsake you. Now for a long season, Yasha'Allah has been without a teaching, without the true Ahayiah, and without a teaching priest, and without Torah law. See, when was that? When Jehoram ran them off. 2 kings, Rehoboam and Jehoram. I know their names sound similar. Rehoboam, you remember, Rehoboam was the one that was right, and Jehoram was the jerk. It's easy to remember. Who was right and who was the jerk? I say he was a jerk because he departed from the living Ahayiah and followed after idols. That made him a jerk. And he taught the children of Yasha'Allah from the northern kingdom to sin in that matter. But there were some of the northern kingdom that sought the right way under Rehoboam, and then now under Asa, who was his son, they sought the right way to keep the law, statute, commandment, to do the sacrifice that were required in Torah for the sacrifice for sin required in Torah. And we're going to read it in a moment. But back to that 2 Chronicles 15:3. Now for a long season, Yasha'Allah had been without the true Ahayiah, and without a teaching priest, and without Torah law. But when they in their trouble did turn unto Ahayiah of Yasha'Allah, and sought him, he was found of them. See, Most High ain't forgot about him. Just because they cast him off, he ain't cast them off. So when the Apostle Paul, who was from the house of Judah, wrote in Romans chapter 11, verse 1, there's a high forsook his people, which he foreknew, a higher forbid. They forsook a higher, but higher didn't forsake them. They ran the teaching priests off. But he sought them as a father would seek a prodigal son. Some of y'all going to catch that in a moment. Second Chronicles 15:4. But when they were in their trouble, did turn to Ahayiah of Yasha'Allah, and sought him, he was found of them. And in those times there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon all the inhabitants of the countries. And Gentile was destroyed of Gentile, and city of city, for Ahayiah did vex them with all adversity. Will you highlight? That word nation there is goy. Root for going. So it says right there, Gentile was chasing of Gentile. Wow. Here the children of Yasha'Allah are being referred to as Gentile. I'll read it again. 2 Chronicles 15:3. For a long season, Yasha'Allah had been without the true Ahayiah, and without a teaching priest, and without Torah law. But when they, the house of Yasha'Allah, in their trouble did turn to Ahayiah of Yasha'Allah, and sought him, he was found of them. And in those times there was no peace to him that went out, nor to him that came in, but great vexations were upon all the inhabitants of the countries. And nation of Gentile was destroyed of Gentile, and city of city, for Ahayiah did vex them with all adversity. Be ye strong therefore, and let not your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. And when Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Obed the prophet, he took courage and put away the abominable idols out of all the land of Judah and Benjamin, and out of all the cities which he had taken from Mount Ephraim, and renewed the altar of Ahiah, and was before the porch of Ahiah. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim, we highlight, and Manasseh, and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Yasha'Allah, we highlight. And did you notice that when the half tribe of Ephraim and the half tribe of Manasseh and the tribe of Simeon are intermingled with the tribe of Benjamin and the tribe of Judah, that they are referred to as strangers? Did you catch that? So when you read in the New Testament talking about people being strangers from the covenant, and we're going in a moment. So when you read Ephesians chapter 2, this is what the Apostle Paul, so-called, was referring to. The reunification of the house of Judah and the house of Yasha'Allah back together as one. Just like the prophet Ezekiel prophesied in Ezekiel 37. Two sticks put together as one. Under one king and one shepherd. The one who would sit on David's throne, that would be Messiah. Wow. They knew who Messiah was. The Apostle Paul in Acts chapter 13, we read it last week. He preached that Messiah was the one that was going to sit on David's throne forever. That's the good news. That the one prophesied that was going to sit on David's throne has come. He died for you. He was raised from the dead. He ascended into heaven. He's sitting at the right hand of the Father. His blood is the blood of the new covenant. None of these facts are in dispute. But you keep wanting to take our redemption story and giving it to somebody else. Did not the Messiah tell us not to take that which is holy and give it to the dogs, nor cast our pearls before swine? Is not the covenant holy or separated unto us? Quit giving it to the dogs. You were told not to do it. I was told not to do it. That's why I tell you, and I will reiterate right here, right now, that these broadcasts are not for you ethnic Gentile dogs. I ain't talking to you. I ain't got nothing for you, because everything I'm talking about is set apart. It's holy. It's the holy word of a holy Most High power for his holy people. Period. Full stop. Second Chronicles 15:8. And when Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Obed the prophet, he took courage and put away the abominable idols out of all the land of Judah and Benjamin, out of all the cities that were taken from Mount Ephraim, and renewed the altar of Ahiah, and was before the porch of Ahiah. And he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon, for they fell unto him out of Yasha'Allah in abundance, when they saw that Ahiah was with them. So they gathered themselves together at Jerusalem in the 3rd month, in the 15th year, in the reign of Asa. And they offered unto Ahiah at the same time the spoil which they had brought, 700 oxen and 7,000 sheep. And they entered into a covenant to seek Ahiah of their fathers with all their heart and with all their soul, that whosoever would not seek Ahiah of Yasha'Allah, should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. What the wages of sin is death. Kill him. And they swore unto Ahiah with a loud voice, and with shouting, and with trumpets and cornets. And all Judah rejoiced at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire. And he was found of them, and Ahiah gave them rest of all about. One last point. 2 Chronicles chapter 17. Then we go into Ephesians. One last point. And Jehoshaphat, 2 Chronicles 17:1. And Jehoshaphat, his son, reigned in his stead and strengthened himself against Yasha'Allah. Will you highlight? This enmity between the house of Judah and the house of Yasha'Allah still going on. It started with Rehoboam and Jehoram. The righteous Rehoboam and the jerk Jehoram. That's when it started. And it's still going on. Rehoboam, long gone. Asa, his son, long gone. Jehoshaphat, his grandson, is reigning now. And he strengthened himself against the house of Yasha'Allah. Let's read it again. At 2 Chronicles 17:1. And Jehoshaphat, his son, reigned in his stead and strengthened himself against Yasha'Allah. And he placed forces in all the fenced cities of Judah and set garrisons in the land of Judah and in the cities of Ephraim, and in which Asa, his father, had taken. And AHAYAH was with Jehoshaphat because he walked in the ways of his father David and sought not out Baal. And sought to AHAYAH of his father, and walked in his commandments, and not after the doings of Yasha'Allah. We highlight. And Yasha'Allah in this context is who? The house of Yasha'Allah. The northern kingdom. The 10 tribes. We've already seen what they're all about. They're all about their calf worship. They're all about worshiping the golden calves. They didn't want nothing to do with no Torah. They were without Torah. Why? Because they got rid of the ones that had the Torah in their mouth. That would be the priests. They chased them out. They said, get out of here. We don't want to hear that. We'll make our own priests up. We just read that. Wow. So, now let's go to the book of Ephesians. We were in Romans in the first broadcast. Let's go to Ephesians in the second. And I had a thought, children. And I might do it. Even though there's only one book in the New Testament called the book of Hebrews, I submit all of the epistles of Paul, especially the epistle of Paul, are books of Hebrews. It's the book of Hebrews to the Romans, the book of Hebrews to the Galatians, the book of Hebrews to Thessalonica 1 and 2, the book of Hebrews to Timothy, the book of Hebrews. I may title all of the Pauline epistles as books of Hebrew in the word of Yahweh to the 12 tribes scattered, precept version. Why would you do something like that, Brother Holly? I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm trying to emphasize a point. That if the Apostle Paul uses phrases like brethren, he's talking to people that he shares an ethnicity with. If he uses terminology like the AHAYAH of our fathers or our fathers, then he's only talking to people he shares ethnicity with. He ain't talking to ethnic Gentiles. He's talking to the lost sheep of the house of Yasha'Allah. That's who he's talking to. That's all the only people he's talking to. He couldn't be talking to anybody else. Let's prove it. Prove all things and hold fast. That was good. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 1. And you have he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sin, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the principality of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. Did they walk in idolatry? They sure did. The house of Yasha'Allah. They walked after their own counsel. They worship devils. It says right here they worship devils. Wherein in times past, Ephesians 2:2, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the principality of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience, among whom also We all had our conversation in times past, in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as others. Is not idolatry a work of the flesh? It most certainly is. But Aha, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherein he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, Aha, consider him dead, you dead in sin, hath quickened us or made us live together with Messiah. By grace are you saved, and have raised us up together and made us sit together in heavenly places in Messiah Yahayasha, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace and his kindness toward us through Messiah Yahayasha. For by grace are you saved through faith, and not of yourselves, it is the gift of Ahayah, not of works, lest any man should boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yahayasha unto good works. You're not saved by good works, you're saved to good works. You don't get to walk away from doing the right thing. You don't get to walk away from being righteous in your conduct, righteous in your speech, righteous in your faith, righteous in your belief. No. You're going to be doing that which is lawful and right, or you're going to be counted as a transgressor. You were saved by grace through faith unto good works. I'll read it again. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, for we are his workmanship, created in Messiah Yahayasha unto good works, which Ahayah hath before ordained that we should walk therein. Wherefore remember that ye were in time past, that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision. Wow. Hold your place in Ephesians chapter 2. Turn me to Jeremiah chapter 9. Jeremiah 9:23, thus saith Ahayah, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. But let him that glory in this, that he understands and knows me, that I am Ahayah, that which exercises loving kindness or grace, judgment and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith Ahayah. Behold, the days come, saith Ahayah, that I will punish all them that are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Remember the Apostle Paul said, neither circumcision avails nor uncircumcision, but a new creature. You got to be a new creature. Clipped or not, you got to be a new creature. Why? Because the Most High said he's going to punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised. He ain't looking to see if you clipped or not. He's looking at your heart. I'll read it again. Behold, the days come, saith I, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Egypt and Judah and Edom and the children of Ammon and Moab and all that are in the uttermost corners that dwell in the wilderness. For all these nations, all these Gentiles are uncircumcised. And all the house of Yasha'Allah are uncircumcised in the heart. So all the house of Yasha'Allah is uncircumcised. All the house of Yasha'Allah are Gentiles of the heart. The circumcision of the heart that matter. And we have teachings on this channel of the one thing that can circumcise your heart. That would be Torah. No Torah, no circumcision of the heart. So all you lawless heathens out there who'll be sitting on the people standing in pulpits tomorrow telling you you can be lawless. Realize that you have an uncircumcised heart and you're going to be punished. I'll read on. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 11 again. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made with hands. And at that time you were without Messiah, being aliens from the commonwealth of Yasha'Allah, outside the country, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having nothing to do with it at the time, having no hope and without AHAYAH in the world. Did we not read that in 2 Chronicles chapter 15? That the house of Yasha'Allah would be in this basic same condition? No AHAYAH. Says right here you didn't have him. Says that time you were without Messiah, being aliens from the commonwealth of Yasha'Allah. Outside, you were in broken covenant with Yasha'Allah. And strangers from the covenants of promise. You weren't doing nothing in line with the covenants. Having no hope and without AHAYAH in the world. Let's go back. Hold your place in the second chapter of Ephesians. Hold your place. We're going back to 2 Chronicles real quick. We're going to read that again. 2 Chronicles chapter 15. 2 Chronicles 15:3. Now for a long season, Yasha'Allah had been without the true AHAYAH. Does it say over here in Ephesians, you're without the true AHAYAH? It says, without AHAYAH in the world. That's Ephesians chapter 2, verse 12, the end of the verse. Okay, that's one. And without the law, without a teaching priest, outside of the commonwealth of Yasha'Allah and the covenants of promise, and without Torah law. The Torah law is a covenant. It says over here that you were without Torah. You were without the covenants of promise. Covenants of promise. Having no hope and without AHAYAH in the world. But now in Messiah Yahayasha, back to Ephesians chapter 2, ye who were sometimes afar off are made nigh by the blood of Messiah. Is the blood of Messiah not the blood of the new covenant? And we talked about in the first broadcast, and thank you for staying with me almost an hour. We talked about in the first broadcast that the blood of the new covenant is the blood that Messiah shed. Messiah held the cup up and said it. And that the new covenant is to the house of Yasha'Allah and to the house of Judah. Did we not make that point from Hebrews chapter 8 in the first broadcast? Absolutely. Watch the first broadcast if you don't believe me. Watch the first broadcast. But now in Messiah Yahayasha, this is Ephesians chapter 2, verse 13, ye who are sometimes afar off are made nigh by the blood of Messiah. For he is our peace, who have made both one, and have broken down the middle wall partition between us. Who built the walls? The house of Judah. They built walls around all their cities, to include Jerusalem. But Messiah broke down the walls. Why? He ended the enmity between the two houses. We're going to read the next verse. And have abolished in his flesh the enmity, or the disagreement between the two houses, or the fighting. He abolished that in his flesh. He hung on that tree for both houses of Yahshua. Even the law of commandments contained in ordinances. Did he not say in Second Chronicles that you're not to put these two houses together by force, that this is of me? And they went back, they received the commandment from the Most High through a prophet. Don't you try to put these two houses back together. This division is of me. But he sent his son to do it. Oh, praises! Having abolished in his flesh the enmity or the war that was going on between the two. Did not it say in 2 Chronicles there was a war between those two houses? Even the law of commandments contained in ordinance for making in himself of two one new man, so making peace, that he might reconcile both, who? House of Judah and the house of Yasha'Allah unto AHAYAH in one body, by the cross, having slain the enmity, or put to death the fight between the two houses. Put that to death. He's slain the enmity, or the fighting, or the vexation between the two houses. Your squabble has ended. And came and preached peace to you which were far off, and to them that are nigh. I can't let it slide, child. Go to Acts chapter 10 real quick. Acts 10:34. When Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth I perceive that AHAYAH'S is no respecter of persons, but in every Gentile, he that fears him and works righteousness is accepted with him. Or in every goy. The word which AHAYAH sent unto the children, verse 36. The word which AHAYAH sent unto the children of Yasha Allah, preaching peace by AHAYAH'S Messiah. That word I say you know, which was published throughout all Judea, and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached, how AHAYAH anointed Yahayasha of Nazareth with the Ruach Qadashia and with power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for AHAYAH was with him. And we are witnesses of all things which he did both in the land of Judea and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. Him AHAYAH raised up the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of AHAYAH, even to us, who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people, and to testify that it is he which was ordained of AHAYAH to be judge of the quick and the dead. And to him all the prophets witness that through his name whoso believes in him shall receive remission of sins. Oh, praises! Remission of sins was promised to you, child. It was promised to you in Isaiah. It was promised to you in the new covenant. It was ratified when the Messiah held the cup up. He said, this is the cup of the new covenant in my blood for the remission of sins. That blood of the new covenant was shed for you. If you're the house of Yasha or the house of Judah, it belongs to you. All praises to the Most High AHAYAH and to his son, Yahya Messiah. Yada. Hayah.